Hello and welcome. My name is Bogdan Davidov and I'm the Customer Success Manager at 3D Repo. Today I'll show you what our platform does, how it can help you collaborate better, and also how it can improve your project delivery. You probably are aware of the fact that we're a cloud-based solution, but what we mean by that is that we don't just store models in the cloud for you, we actually give you access to our platform through a web browser. What that means is that you no longer have to go to IT departments, ask them to install things for you, and then wait for 2 or 3 weeks for them to deploy it. You simply have to open a web browser like I have one open right now, log into your account, and then get access to any projects and companies that may be working with you. So as you can see, there are several companies that could be sharing models with you. There may be a list of projects, and within those projects there are different models and federations that you have access to. To mention that all these 3D models have information available to you, it's only available to those who have access. And what we mean by that is that there is a user management tab. Before you even start collaborating, you can predefine a pool of users, give them certain level of authority or access. So you're no longer worried about the fact, oh, what if somebody gets access to my model in the internet and the data gets leaked? Don't worry, everything is protected. You can go down to specific model and give them specific level of collaboration in terms of upload, download models, just view models, or not have any access to them at all. So this way you can share models with external companies, your colleagues, different departments within your company, or even clients, and just show them 3D models without any project information that you are working on. So let me take you on a quick tour of the features that you get inside 3D Repo. Once again, it's rather straightforward. What we do here is that we provide containers for models, and there could be several model revisions. And you can always see who uploads the model, what file format it comes in, but then you can easily federate it. What we mean by federating is just selecting a list of models and bringing them all together. So if I just open up this federation, I'll show you what the platform looks like and what features you get. One of the main things that we're trying to achieve is the simplicity. There are so many tools out there, and many of them look like they're just replicating each other. Many of them tend to be desktop applications. So we're trying to put an application inside the web browser and keeping it simple. We don't want you to spend 2 or 3 weeks trying to learn how to put section plane or how to create an issue. We know and understand that time is of an essence. So connecting everyone together and working collaboratively is a key. So the quicker you can do it, the better it is. So when you open up the web viewer, which is running on Unity engine, so essentially it's like a game that you're running inside the web browser. You have a set of features that is on the left side of the panel, such as issues for issue tracking. You can use groups for data validation, have predefined views around the model that you can click on and navigate to a specific view. So you can predefine some views for design coordination meetings, or maybe your client to review the project progress, so they can quickly open up and go to the model area that is interesting to specific individual or maybe everyone, so you don't have to learn how to navigate model. You can just click a few buttons. And there are other features that I'll show you later, such as comparison tool and measurement card. At the bottom we have a toolbar that explains everything about the model, in the sense that there's a BIM card. What we mean by that is when you select a model element, you actually get data out of it. So if 3D model contains data, you can get access to it. It's not just the beautiful 3D mesh that you're seeing here. You can actually drill through all the data that people are providing you. You can also do automated data validations or quantity takeoffs if you want to. You can also drop section planes if you need to, cut through a specific area of the building to help you understand where things are. And it's just a click of a few buttons. It's drag and drop and pull and bring things forward, so it's relatively easy. not too many things to press, and you can also hide and show things if you want to. So if we look closely at the feature, the main one, which is issue tracking, what we do here is we follow standard BCF schema, and what it does, it allows people to collaborate through a common environment. So if there are any issues inside the model, they can quickly raise it, and then they drop a pin. So for instance, we see all these different colored pins. We can click on these pins if we want to, and then go directly to the issue. There we can see what's the priority level, who it is assigned to, what type of issue it is, have an original screenshot, and any comments if there are any. So it's a nice way for you to coordinate and collaborate things inside your design review meeting, or outside that, for instance, pre-construction phases, design stage handovers, you name it. It's entirely up to you how you want to use it. So if we go into, let's say, this issue, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a common environment for people to work on, right? You no longer have to send an email, attach documents, and have limited file size warnings, or losing those emails, or people saying that they never received it. You can just assign the relevant party. Any comment that is created, it all gets logged in here, so you can always see what that person is looking at, what they're trying to resolve, so you can go directly to the view that they're looking at, so you can actually see what is it that they're trying to examine in here. You can see their markup as well. So everything is in one place. If you suddenly jump on this job because your colleague is ill, you don't have to, ask for them to forward you all the emails. You can just quickly review it here and then resolve the problem. On top of that, you can attach resources. So they could be, let's say, PDF plans or something like that that might help you. Could be links to, I don't know, product specification documents, or even links to common data environments. It's entirely up to you how you use it. And in terms of resources, people sometimes even tag assets. So for instance, there is an issue with an asset, or they just want to do some sort of like asset management review or facility management review. They can, assign relevant person, pick up where it is in the model, what the asset is, attach any kind of documentation that is important for them in terms of maintenance or installation. So you can have this cross-reference between the 3D model and also the actual facility management and construction, for instance, delivery conditions. So it's entirely up to you. And when you do this, you're not just limited by looking at things, right? So for instance, if you're looking at this particular area, and then you say, okay, well, I want to validate a few things in here as well, you can jump to other tools such as measurement card. So if you, for instance, start noticing that there is actually some sort of slab opening in here, right? And I want to understand how big it is, you can drop a custom area if you want to. As simple as that. I snap onto the corners, I measure this opening, and what you start noticing is I'm taking actually measurements from this 3D model. They could be areas, they could be distances. Let's say I want to check the distance between this valve and the next one. Do I have enough room to open it? We get a calculation back, and then it tells us, okay, it's 0.13, 130 mil. That's okay, that's enough for me to open it. They designed it well, I'm pretty happy with it. Or I can also check, well, how tall are these, how much distance between these pipes I have. Can I get a maintenance guy to fit in there? Do they have enough room to access it? Yeah, okay, that's enough room for me. Or do I want to check, let's say, ceiling height in here? I drop my laser measurement. I can also check the width of this room as well. It's entirely up to you. You can take all these measurements, validate information inside 3D model, and then create issue out of this if you want to, and attach this information to the screenshot if you want to. And on top of that, you can even do a markup if you want to as well, including like clouds and call out boxes, all sorts of things. This is just an example. But once again, you can attach this information, and then this is stored inside the actual issues list, which is a good audit trail, right? So people never lose track if somebody hasn't resolved something, or if somebody lost track of how they are doing. They want to go back and review specific area of the model. They can always go down the list and look at specific issue. They can also filter this information by, let's say, a topic type. Let's have a look at clashes. Are there any clashes in the model? So it's entirely up to you how you manage it, and you can do it in a number of ways. Also, just to mention that you can drop color overrides to these as well if you want to color code it, if that helps you. So in terms of reporting this, you can export or import BCF. You can also create a PDF report if you want to. And what's nice is that each issue has a hyperlink. So it's not just a static piece of paper. You can actually click on this and then go to the model and then see the issue. So this way you can share hyperlinks to issues with your colleagues if you want to, or other individuals working with you. So that's issue tracking, and that's how it works, and that's how you can use it for better project collaboration and design reviews, or for instance facilities management. It's entirely up to you. There's a notification center, so if there's a new model upload or new issue assigned to, you always get information about it. If I just switch off these pins so we don't get overwhelmed, I'll show you things like smart groups, for instance, how people can use it and do use it for things like data validation, or even help them to quickly visualize their models. So when they look at the model, they fly around, they start noticing, let's say, some MEP equipment, but they want to understand where exactly it is. They can drop colors on model elements as well as transparencies if you want to. So once we drop a color, we can better see what elements are, whether it's from MEP designer, whether it's a structural element or landscape element. We can even drop transparencies if we want to. Let's say I drop one in here. Then we can get a better understanding in terms of what's happening behind elements, where the equipment is, and what it is. So it's quite nice and easy for people to help them visualize all the elements that MEP engineers, structural engineers, or architects are sharing with them. You can also use this to validate data, right? So if we look for doors, for instance, in here, we have 951 objects. I can isolate these elements, so here they are, but I can also run specific rule checks. Like I mentioned to you earlier, if I select model element, I get all the data in there. I can drill through it, look at my favorites if I want to, but I can also validate information. So if I want to check, show me doors that have no fire rating, we actually see that there are some elements. We can drop color code on it if we want to. We can also check for those that have fire rating, right? So we can then compare the two. How do they look across our project? What we do here is that we actually create simple rules. Rules which are filters, such as, parameter field, category is door, fire rating exists. You can set whatever you like. It could be like greater than, equal to, contains, begins with. So you can predefine all these rules, and what's nice, these are available to everyone else because this is a model federation that we're looking at now. Anybody who opens this up, they can quickly visualize the same information that you're looking at as well. So that helps in terms of data flows and data sharing. And now we can better understand where it is in the model that we have elements with fire ratings and no fire ratings. If there's a specific area of the model that I'm interested in, I can quickly jump to it, but I can also quickly see if the element has the, let's say, the attribute that we requested, right? I'm not sure if I have any views set up for it, but I'm sure you guys can test a few views that might be interesting to you. So that's smart groups, right? And what's nice about this is that they automatically update every time you upload new model revision. You don't have to run it again and again. It just automatically updates the count, and it tells you what the results are based on the latest model revision. So that's groups, that's data validation done. Another really cool and powerful feature that is particularly useful for people that work on fast-paced projects where there are lots of changes happening, they're working with different disciplines and different file formats, is the comparison tool. So 3DDiff is a patent-pending feature, and what it allows you to do is look at model changes. So if we look at MEP and we look at revision 2 versus revision 1, could be any other model revision, you name it. But what's nice is that once we activate it, we get comparison between two revisions, and we're looking at geometry only. So it's not looking at object IDs and then flagging up the entire object. Look, something's changed here, and then you have to figure it out, right? Here, if somebody, let's say MEP engineer, sends me a new model and they say, yeah, we've done changes, I can quickly change where those changes are happening, and or whether they are something that I have requested or they've changed something that I didn't want them to. So in here we see something is changing to this ductwork, right? So this is our previous revision, this is our new revision, and this is the comparison. Red is deletion, green is addition. So we see that actual width of this ductwork is contracting, so we're getting extra room around it, something's changing there. We see there are some light fixtures, a new cable tray as well. And some of these things are so hard to spot sometimes when you have all these model elements floating around and about. This is super powerful and easy, quick way to validate information. So if they send you a new model, you can quickly see whether they've done their work or they've done what you requested, and then you can raise issues or RFIs or whatever it is that you want to do with it. And once again, this works from geometry, so it doesn't matter what file format you compare it to. It could be a Revit file from early design stages that you were comparing to IFC file that came from subcontractor, where they do a more detailed design. This way you can check whether the geometry matches, whether they're still sticking to the original design, or whether they're starting to change things and move things around unintentionally, which could be costly once it commences on site, right? So that's 3DDiff, and that's how it works. Very quick and easy tool to use. Instant Clash, that's something that we've introduced as a clash detection tool, and it works similar to 3DDiff. It instantly calculates clash results that you see in the model. So let's say we look at MEP versus structure, base versus target. So it doesn't ask you to create those clash sets, which take some time to predefine. Sometimes might not work because of naming conventions, but also spit out massive clash results that are just overwhelming and people don't really understand what they're looking at. In here, we just simply fly around the model, and wherever there is interference, we just highlight it for you, right? So for instance, we're looking at this pipe and we see that there is a clash. What is the clash? Well, we realize in fact that this pipe is just running straight through this slab and it's missing the opening, or the opening doesn't exist in the right place. You can create an issue out of this, but what's nice is that you see the exact interference points, not just the object red and green, how some alternative tools might show it. But you can predefine views if you want to. If you don't want to see the entire model and get overwhelmed by all these clash results, you as a design lead or a person working on a specific area of the model can just jump to that area of the model. Let's say I want to look at core A, or I want to look at core B, or I want to make sure that there are no clashes in the car park. Let's go and quickly see what's going on in here. Is there anything in the basement MEP run? Okay, there's a clash happening there. So this way, people don't have to sit around and wait for those massive clash reports come from the BIM coordinator or whoever may be doing it. Sometimes they sit around and wait for 2 weeks for those to come back. There are 500 of them. They only look at 5 because they don't have the time or interest in looking at anything else. Allow those people to just look at the model straight away as soon as there is new revision. They can quickly pick up, they know what they want to look at. They can start reviewing and seeing if there are any clashes. This is just another way of trying to simplify the workflow and allow everybody to engage rather than assign tasks to individuals and then nobody knows how things are done. So once again, we're trying to democratize it this way, and you can also actually use, for instance, if we go to this view, and activate it again. You can use smart groups as clash sets if you want to. So if we do MEP versus structure, once again, activate it, this quickly becomes active. We can go to groups and then we can search for our clash sets. We can look at, let's say I want to look at cable trays and structural walls. Are there any clashes between those elements? You can select them if you want to, and you can just simply isolate those groups in view, and then you start viewing just those elements and then start seeing if there are any clashes happening in there. You know, we start seeing that there's some sort of big clash here. The closer we zoom in, the more we know, and then start realizing that actually there are cable trays running straight through this wall that contains no openings. We can raise an issue from this if we want to. Okay, so that's a comparison tool, and that's how it works. Another one of the more important things is safety base, but let me just jump out of this and go to another model. I'll show you how it can be used. So safety base is a PAS 1192 Part 6 compliant. What it's trying to do here is actually allow people to do health and safety and risk management in 3D model BIM environment. A lot of people tend to put a lot of detail in models, and that's great. And like, for instance, in this model, we can see that it is taken as a snippet from a 4D sequencing in Synchro and then brought into 3D Repo. And then we can actually review site conditions and then raise issues, and perhaps as a design team understand where there might be flaws in project, might be delayed due to risk on site or maybe poor design. But we can also address this to site managers or people that might be actually working on site. So if you see all these pins flying around, they're color-coded on the risk level. It's quite similar to issue card. You have your information about the risk. All this information, you have your predefined fields of information. You can choose from a drop-down list if you want to, or you can fill out your own. You can provide a markup if you want to as well. But another thing that we recently released, and that's us working closely with health and safety executive, is actually on the treatment strategy. What you can do is, I'll show you this spreadsheet. You can have company risk register that you can fill out and upload to 3D Repo. It's just a CSV file. And once you've done this, you can use that to help users in treatment of project risks. So when they fill out these predefined fields that you have specified as your company standard or project standard, they no longer start improvising, right? Asking, oh, how do we actually do it? Well, if you already had similar problem on site somewhere in the past or earlier in the week, you can go to treatment suggestions, and if the risk register that your company has the information about it, or you specified it, you can click on suggest button, and there, based on the risk that you picked up, you can see the suggestions. You can go and say, okay, I want to reduce it, or do I want to eliminate it? Then it proposes the solution that was used last time or on previous or any other project that you have worked on. So then you can use that to pre-populate all the information and then say, okay, I'm going to propose this as a treatment solution, and then people can have a look at it and say, yeah, we're happy, and then approve it. So once again, there's a full audit trail, so any comments or anything like that gets registered. You can attach documents as well if you want to. But now it just doesn't become unstructured data. You can actually manage it across several projects and across your company, and make sure that you can register any risk solutions that you've picked up successfully, and then reapply them again on any potential future problems that you might come across of similar kind. So once again, this is all done through 3D model environment, right? This is us looking at 3D models, and everything is great. But you can also manage all these issues and risks using our Kanban board. It's a bit like Trello board. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. You can filter it however you like as well. But you have a nice and interactive layout here to manage your data. So this is issue tracking, but it's simplified and it's very interactive. You don't have to have a 3D model. You can just simply raise an issue in here if you want to, or look at an issue that already exists inside 3D model. Open the cards, see what kind of attachments people are sharing, what information there is, upload any images, could be images of some model, could be images of site conditions, anything like it. This is your issue tracking at its finest, because it's very nice, interactive. You can filter through this, you can drag and drop elements. It's not just a massive tabular form spreadsheet or some sort of web page where you kind of have to read line after line. You can interact with it quite nicely. What's really nice is, once again, because we're a cloud-based solution, you're no longer limited by all of these features available online. You can actually plug 3D Repo anywhere else or extract information from 3D Repo into other solutions, whether they're software solutions in the cloud or desktop solutions. It's entirely up to you. So for instance, if we look at the example of Power BI, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not, but it becomes a very popular tool, which is a free software to download as a desktop application. You can also run it in the cloud. This is just a simple example of how you can pull all the information from 3D Repo, live information, and then review it. This is, for instance, for issue management, and here you can see how each individual or a company is performing, which area of the model is not doing so well, where you have so many problems, how many issues are open, which company has got level of information that is outstanding, or for instance, the priorities, risks, all the information about the issue itself. You can even go down to timeline, and this is quite nice and interactive way of looking at things, understanding where the spikes are, what types of issues are still open from certain times, how long is each issue taking to resolve, why some issues are still open, what exactly that issue is. So you can pull all this information and interact with it however you like. This is just one example for issue management, right? So you can pull all this issue information and do much better data analytics. So at the end of the project, you can look back and then see which company did well, which individual did well, which area of the model didn't do so well. So what's really nice, you have all this data that people always neglect, but they can use it to do project analysis or almost a review to then do even better in the next project. And it's structured data. It's easy to access and format however you like. It comes in as a table in here, but then you can actually interact with it in any shape and form. The same applies to model data. Model data that is available in 3D Repo, we can access it through BIM card inside Model Viewer, but you can actually pull that data back. And when you do that, you can interact with it as well. In here, for instance, we can look at different model revisions and look at specific categories. Let's say I want to look at structural columns. I understand that there are extra 44 cubic meters of concrete. These are the column types they're using. Well, let's have a look at level 1. How many columns there are, which column type they're using, how much concrete do I need. So you can use this to do your quantity takeoff, data analytics as well. Understand whether the elements are named accordingly, whether people are providing the right information inside 3D model. And that's the whole beauty of us no longer storing files, but storing data, right? You can access 3D model through Viewer if you want to. You can download it. Or you can also view the data behind that model as a spreadsheet if you want to, in Excel or Power BI or Tableau or Airtable, whatever you want it to be. That's very nice and useful. So you don't have to sit around and wait for a file to open for too long or code your way into it. You can just simply make an API request and pull that information back, and it's really simple. If you head over to our support center, you will realize that there's a lot of information available. Video tutorials, user guides, BIM forensics, where we talk about how you can integrate with things like Node-RED, Power BI, Dynamo, the sample files to download, also videos to show you how it all works. And you can connect to 3D Repo hassle-free, pretty much, that you are working on. And pull the issues from 3D Repo. But what's nice is that you can navigate directly to an issue. When you click, obviously the view will update and you'll go there. And you can also pull any information that comes with this issue. If I click on this and I open this up, I can see what type it is, what it is that it is trying to resolve in terms of the original markup, who it is assigned to, any resources. I can open up any attachments that it contains as well. I can also have a look at comments, what kind of information that they're trying to show me, you know, go to that view as well. What is it that they're trying to resolve? Let's have a look. Even take screenshots from model if I want to, or add comments if I want to as well. And then this all synchronizes back to 3D Repo, or brings the information from 3D Repo to Revit environments as well. So this is another way of better collaboration with other project stakeholders. And what's nice is that because 3D Repo takes different file formats, you can have DGN, Navisworks, or IFC or Revit files in the web browser. But if you are the designer or anyone else working, let's say, in Revit, you can still see the issues the others are picking up from models of different file formats, but you can see where it is in your model as well by going to exactly the same view and seeing exactly the same information. Okay, I think that's pretty much most of the features as such in 3D Repo. If you guys have any questions, you can always go to 3D Repo Support Center. Remember, you can sign up for free as well and get free access to our platform. But if you have any further questions, just email support@3drepo.com. Thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you using 3D Repo on your projects.